greet you all this morning in the precious name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Blessing to be here again with you this morning. Just thank the Lord for His goodness, His mercy, His long suffering. God is good to us. It's a real blessing to serve Him. It's a challenge. It's a war. It's a battle. But it's a blessing to be on the side that we know will win in the end. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Lord, give us the daily bread. Lord, feed us manna from above. Lord, fill us with your Spirit. Help us forgive as we forgive those who we seek your forgiveness as we forgive those who trespass against us, Father. Just pray again for your Spirit. As we open your word, give us wisdom, Father, from above. We thank you again for your goodness. In Jesus' name. I want to again extend greetings to you all in the precious name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Let's open our Bibles to Mark chapter 8. Verse 36. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? For what will a man give in exchange for his soul? This morning I want to have a message this morning about parent training. We've heard a lot of messages about child training, and I can just tell you that child training is not really a problem. Child training is pretty simple. It's the parents that need training. And when the parents are disciplined and trained, they'll train their children the way they should go. This verse, why I started with this verse, is what shall it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul? What's that verse telling us? It's telling us that the value of this whole world, everything in this world, is not worth a human soul. And I want to start with that just to give you the idea of what the value of a soul is. It's the most valuable thing in this world. It's the thing that Christ came down from heaven to reclaim, to redeem, to ransom, to bring back to himself. The value of a soul is what Christ gave himself in this world for. Suffered everything that he went through in this life for a soul. He gave himself for a soul. A few verses here it says, if anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Whoever wishes to save his life will lose it. Whoever loses his life for my sake and the gospel's will save it. Jesus came and gave his life to save a soul. That's the value of a soul. And I want to look at that value of a soul. I want you to think about the value of a soul. Because you, as a parent, a mother and a father, brought a soul into this world, and God has given you a responsibility for that soul. Well, my business, we just got to work and we've got to provide. We've got to do all this. We've got to be busy in our work. I don't have time to take care of the soul that God gave me. Oh, I've got to do my shopping. I've got to do all the things that it takes. I'm so busy. But I don't have time for a soul that God gave me. What shall it profit a man if he gain the whole world? What good is it going to do if you leave your children a big business or a big farm if they lose their souls? The only thing important in your life, as far as God is concerned, is the souls that He's given you charge of. What does it matter if you're a successful man if you've squandered the thing that you chose to bring into this world and wasted away? I just wanted to start with that, to give you, to help you, to see, so you can see a vision. You've got to lose your life. When you bring a child into this world, you've just given your ambitions for your life away. Because now your life is to be devoted to raising this soul that God has given you. And I want you to take that seriously. I want you to know that that is the most important thing in your life. Studying the Bible. Oh, I don't have time to spend with my children. I don't have time to train my children. I've got to study the Bible. I've got to learn new doctrines. You're wasting your time. You can seek for wisdom. You can understand these things. I've got to go do all kinds of things. Holy. I've got to talk about spiritual things. And then little souls are just being let run loose. We'll talk this morning about parent training. I want you to get a hold of what God has given you. Your primary responsibility in life. God said, be fruitful and multiply. Not just so there'd be a whole bunch of people. He said, be fruitful and multiply. So that light can be spread. And it's your responsibility to train these souls. It's you who brought them into the world. Nobody else did. You did. You did. He didn't give them to you so you could make them be successful in this life. He gave them to you so that they could be light in this life to the rest of the world. You know, we can train animals to do anything. And some people think, oh, that's a really wise man that knows how to train an animal. It doesn't take that much wisdom. But it just takes the man being trained, not the animal. The man has to be wiser than the animal. He has to understand the animal, where it's going, what it's thinking. And you can direct it. You can take hold of that. You can see where it's going a certain way and start putting commands when it does what you want it to do. And it learns from you that this goes with that. You have to outthink the animal. And yet so many parents are just going at this haphazardly and letting the child outthink them every time. That's why there's so many stray dogs in the world. Because somebody didn't train them for what they were going to do. That's exactly why there's so many stray people in the world. because the children weren't trained. The Bible says, train up a child in the way it should go. That's not the child's responsibility. That's yours. Every time the Bible talks about child training, he's not talking to children. He's talking to parents. Parents. Got some examples of parents. One of them is distracted parents. When a parent is distracted, children learn bad behavior. A child left to himself is not a child just turned loose. A child left to himself can happen right under the parent's nose. And they don't even see it. There's almost, some parents just almost have blinders on. They can see what's in front of them, who they're talking to, what they're doing, and their children can be swinging from the chandeliers and they don't even notice it. Their children can just be running wild and they don't even notice it. That's a distracted parent. Distracted from a soul that God has given you. What distracts you? Your business? What distracts you? Religion? I know a lot of people who are so distracted by religion that they don't even care about their children. Oh, they say they do, and they want them to turn out right, but religion takes the priority. And they lose sight of what God has given them to take care of. They get distracted. Some people, they talk about a Bible verse, you get talking about that, and the children, as soon as they hear their parents, oh, if he's talking about the Bible, I'm free. And they just, boom, they can do whatever they want to. And they know it. When you get distracted, the thing about this is your children know it. In fact, they'll stand there smiling at you, waiting for you to become distracted. They're not stupid. They're watching you, waiting. You let your guard down. Oh, yeah. He's talking about his favorite subject again. Here I go. I'm free now. Oh, they're busy doing what they want to do. Here's my chance. They're training you. You're not training them. They're training you how they want you to be. Distracted. Trained parents. Trained parents. You know what trained parents do? It starts when children are little bitty. They're sitting there in church. They don't like being held, so all they got to do is squall a little bit, and up goes mama or daddy, takes them to the back, and be still. As soon as they stand up, the child shuts up because he's happy. He's trained you well. He trains you with his tears, or her, with their tears, with their fussing, with their complaining, with their belly aching. You want to train a child to be a complainer and a belly acher and a crybaby? You start doing it when they're about 6 weeks old, and they start training you to jump because they're uncomfortable. And they learn soon. They learn real fast. This little bitty baby outsmarts their parents real quick. Boy, this church thing's pretty boring sitting here. This isn't too comfortable. All I gotta do is gripe about it. Mom will jump up and take me to the back of the room. I can sit back there and just get rocked and coddled and cooed. Bring them back in, sit down. What, back here again? I don't like it here. Wham! Wham! Oh, I'm sorry. Right back to the back of the room, where they want to be. Where they want to be. The best way to avoid that is when you get up and take them to the back of the room, make the back of the room the most uncomfortable place in the world. Okay, you want to get up and go to the back of the room? Get trained when you get back in the back of the room. That's what they do with horses. That's what they do with cows. Make it uncomfortable to be where they want to be, and make it comfortable to be where you want them to be. They want to be in the back of the room? Okay, that's where we get spanked, in the back of the room. Make it to where they're sitting there and thinking, this is a pretty nice place to be. I think I'll just be happy here. They're training you. They're playing you. They're learning to manipulate you. The command in the Bible is for you to train them. The way of the world is for them to train you. And we started really young, and they are good at it. They begin to manipulate you. They begin to know how to push your buttons, to know just what they can get away with, to know what they have to do to get off the hook. People with consciences, children or men and women with consciences, their children learn that pretty quick. You tell them, no, you can't do that. And the children begin to say, well, you said we could. You said it was okay the other day. And yeah, maybe I did. And so, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe I did. I was wrong. Okay, you can go eat your ice cream. You have just trained them to manipulate you with your tender conscience. The children have learned that you have a tender conscience, and they can take that conscience and just wrap it and twist it around their little finger. You're training a conniving manipulator. Because they're training you that way, because that's what they want to be. You are the parent. And if you see something that you don't want to happen right now, I don't care what you might have said at another time, that it might have been all right at that time. This is now. And right now, you have to be the parent and say, no, that was the other time. Why are you talking back to me? I said no. This is not a debate. You're not training them to be good debaters. You're training them to be godly men and women. Our goal and our purpose is not to train children. We're not training children. We're training them to be adults. Conniving, complaining adult. Let them train you. They'll be glad to do it. A child left to himself brings his mother to shame. Is a disgrace. What does a child what happens when the child becomes the trainer? And you facilitate him becoming a manipulator, a complainer, a deceiver to get their way. How are they ever going to learn to submit their will to God when they can twist you around your finger? People that I've seen that wound up destroying their children the best were manipulated mothers and manipulated fathers. The ones that I've noticed in my lifetime that wound up in jail, some of them I know that even wound up have been on death row and been put to death, learned how to manipulate their mother at an early age. And she was just a tender conscience, good old woman. But she let her children manipulate her. Trained parents. They're training you if you're not training them. A lot of it just comes from pure old laziness. Laziness. That's just an ugly word, lazy. And you know, a lot of times, lazy parents are pretty busy. Because it's a lot easier just for you to step in and do something yourself than to have patience to teach your children something. If you're going to teach your children something, which is what your purpose in life with children is about, you need to give yourself to that. You need to have enough time and spend enough time to teach them to do something. Well, it's a lot easier. Oh, look, they're going to make a mess. I'm in a hurry. Supper will be late. Hey, just get back, I'll do this. That's being lazy. From your first, most important priority, you're training children. If they're a bother to you, why don't you just send them on out? Just say, go take care of yourself. Get out of my hair. You're too busy. I'm too busy for you. We would think that would be awful for a mother to say that, wouldn't we? But yet, how many times whenever you're trying to teach them something and they mess up, you're right there on them and saying, just get back, I'll do it. That's a selfish, lazy parent. Because you're missing what you need to be working on and you're doing something different. Because it's more work to you to do what's right and what you're responsible for than it is just to get the job done. A lazy person just wants the job done so they can go do whatever they want to do. But a diligent person takes care of his job. His job is raising souls, training children, not cooking dinner. Training souls, not getting all the laundry done today. Training souls, not getting this job done, getting it out of here. Getting this everything taken care of, it's training souls. Who cares if you accomplish everything you want to in life and you ruin your children? Doesn't matter at all. Your responsibility is for that soul, not to get everything done. Everything done will be there to do again tomorrow, and the cycle will just start all over again. But if you'll take the time and invest it in your souls, your little souls that you've been given, you'll find that pretty soon they can actually help you. They can become a benefit and a blessing. Sometimes we're so busy being perfect parents, putting on the appearance of having everything in order and everything just right, that we become perfectly lousy parents. We're so concerned about how things appear and how things look that we make our children into little plastic, worthless images that just look picture perfect. We use beating them just so they will appear just right to everyone else. Our concern is not about the child's soul. Our concern is about what everyone else thinks the child will be. That's selfish. Most of the time, spanking should probably be applied to the parent instead of the child. You know, I'll just give you an example of cows. If I don't keep the fence fixed, and my old fences start just falling down around with the cows that I'm taking care of, and there gets a hole in there bigger and bigger, and pretty soon a cow finds its way through that hole. Boy, how often do we just get mad at them sorry cows for finding that hole, getting out, and now I've got to go chase them. And I've just let the hole in the fence get bigger and bigger. And the cows soon learn not to respect the fence, because it's just another obstacle on my way over there. And so whose fault is that the cow has learned a bunch of bad habits? Learned how to get out into the neighbor's corn or get out into the garden. Whose fault is it? I can get mad at the cow all day long. But I should have been building the fence and making sure it was in order. To where the cow comes up and tries to get through the fence and can't do it, she learns we've trained her to respect the fence. I don't go there. I can't get through there. I'm not even going near it. Or I can train them to find a way to get through it. And it's my fault. We want our children to learn responsibility. We see this world blaming everybody else, waiting for a handout. You know, one thing I appreciate about some of these older people, you can't do anything for them without them feeling they owe you something. You can't do the slightest thing for them without them thinking they owe you something. You can't even hardly be good to some of these people because they feel like they owe you for helping them. What has happened to that? We've trained our children to think everything revolves around them. Everybody owes them. Life don't revolve around them. We're training them for their life to revolve around others. Saw some people crossing the street last night, and it just made me think. These men were crossing the street, and they got out there in the middle of the street where they wasn't supposed to be at that time, and the cars couldn't turn, and so the cars just had to sit there and wait for them to walk. And they just walked on by like it was just, yeah, who cares? Whenever you find yourself in a place or in a position where you're inconveniencing someone else, sorry, thank you. I've interrupted something in your life so that I can do something. That's something we need to learn to instill in our children. How are you going to do it? I don't know. That's your job. Make it your life to learn how to instill things like that. How to instill values like that into your children. You can do it. Someone's in the bathroom too long and there's 4 people. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. Somebody having to wait on them. Make them conscious of it. That my existence in this life is an inconvenience to others at some times. It's not my right and privilege. Learn how to live with people. Like I've said at times before, heaven's not going to be a place where nobody's going to inconvenience you. It's going to be where you're going to be a blessing to those who are there. And that can happen now. Nobody owes you anything. Children need to know that. But as long as they're training you, that you owe them everything, that's exactly what you're training. A bunch of selfish brats. Being Robert mentioned sticks and stones. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. We live in a world that is so sensitive. They call it political correctness. Nobody can say anything to anybody without somebody getting offended. We've raised a whole world of crybabies that think the world revolves around them. A preacher can't be a preacher. Oh, you're offended me. You said something wrong. It's because there's a bunch of crybabies that can't take a little bit of correction. I'm just leaving. He was mean to me. Where does that come from? Where does that come from? This feeling sorry for ourselves. You know, some people, whenever you talk to them, instead of hearing you, they start crying. They get all upset. That's selfish. Take the correction and go. Listen to it. Hear it. Don't get offended by it. It's pride. My feelings were hurt. People put on this impression of humility. And as soon as someone says something against, he hurt me. He hurt me so bad. That is nothing but pride. Like I've said before, don't worry about your pride being hurt. it always heals itself and comes right back as strong as ever. Get rid of your pride. You can hurt it all you want, and it comes right back. There it is again. It heals quick. Jesus said, deny yourself. Deny yourself. People are going to say things. People are going to hurt your feelings. We need to train our children to toughen up just a little bit. Train them to be a little tougher to what people say about them. One of the hardest things that we have to guard about is training up little hypocrites, little religious know-it-alls. They've been around the Bible all their lives. They read Bible stories all their lives. They look out at the world and see how they act. That is just like fertile black soil and a handful of weeds getting ready to be spread on it. These are your souls that God has given, that you chose to bring into this world. And you can train them just to be little Pharisees, looking down their nose at everybody in this wide, wicked world. And it's easy to do. To look at how people act, how people dress, what they love, the lives and how they destroy themselves. And we have these simple lives. Learn how to work hard, learn how to do good things. And the natural tendency for our children is to look out there and say, I'm glad I'm not like them. Boy, I'm glad I'm not like them. Are you going to avoid that? One thing, don't have that in you. Because that's one thing they will learn, and learn fast. That's why these religions that have been around for 100 years, and people have been the same religion over and over again, is because that's just been instilled in them that our group is. We've got 400 years of history to prove that we're right. Pride. I can be real humble. I can be real quiet. And just blowing up inside with pride about it. If you catch your children looking at somebody else cross-eyed, I'd rather see you deal with that than anything. If you see them looking down their noses at somebody else, look at the way they're dressed. Look at the way they dress, those wicked people. That person may have real humility, but that person may be really ashamed. If they had a half a hope. Yeah, we should dress right. Yeah, we should dress right. But I'd rather have a humble heart in a wicked sinner than have a proud heart in a little girl that's got a dress clear down to the dirt. Evangelicals throw out wearing a dress in the dirt because it's full of a bunch of pride and a bunch of proud people looking down their nose at everybody else. And they see nothing but a hypocrite, and the world sees nothing but a hypocrite. And they see it right. That's why the evangelicals say that's the Pharisees to do that. say, God looks on the heart. Well, He does. He sees the wicked pride in little girls and little boys and fathers and mothers that think that they're better than someone else because of the way they dress. God sees that. And He hates it. He hates it. God sees the humble heart of someone who don't know any better. That if they had half the correction that you might have had, they'd be worlds ahead of you. These are your souls that you brought into the world. And if you're not training up nothing but a Pharisee, I'd rather see him a sinner, because there's some hope for them. There isn't much hope for a Pharisee. That was the people Jesus said when He talked about the unpardonable sin. I don't know exactly what that sin was, but I know who He was telling about it. It wasn't the people out there living in sin. It was the people who were full of sin, living holy. Watch for these things in your souls, in your little souls that God has given. Teach them how to care for somebody else, not look down on them. We're all learning here. I mean, I used to be as big a Pharisee as anybody. I used to think that was being holy, exalting myself. But I found out it wasn't. It was ugly. That's the way we're taught. That's the way we're trained. God has given you souls to train them right, to train them good. The attitudes of your children towards others. You know, we're not interested in just having a church that's trained up of people who grew up in church and know how to be churchy. We want people who've learned to be disciples, self-deniers, followers of Jesus who are willing to give themselves to someone else, no matter how it looks, because it's right. To lose ourselves, to lose our own selfish ambition, to lose our own pride, to lay down our lives, to be like Jesus. That's what He's trying to train us to do. We're so scared about what somebody else will think. What's the difference in that and what the world does? There is none. Religion doesn't make anything better. It just seals it a little tighter. Watch your children. Watch your children. When you tell them something, do they start arguing? Do they start talking back? Shame on you. Children fear their father and no one else?
Yeah.
You've missed it. Your children should respect everyone else. They should respect other fathers and other mothers and older brothers. If they are only scared of Daddy, something's wrong. And you better fix it. You want to know how to raise a rebel? You teach them to fear only you. You just see what happens. They won't respect it. They ought to be quiet. I appreciate when children put an uncle or a mister in front of somebody's name that's older than they are. They need to learn to respect people. This idea of children just being equal and everything just equal. They grow up and never listen to anybody. They never respect it. I don't say just give your mind to everybody, just follow any jackleg that comes along. But you should learn to listen to them. When people come to me, I've learned things from drunkards. Not because I just fell down at their feet and said, oh, how wise you are. But what they said, I went home and I thought about it. I don't make snap decisions. But I can be respectful enough to listen to someone and let it go deeper than the air on the other side of my ear. And listen, is what they're saying true? They need to learn to respect other people. I think that's the reason why all this independence in churches today, saying that they're not going to listen, they don't have to listen to anybody, because their parents have trained them not to respect anyone. We should be the most respectful people in the world, because that person you're disrespecting is a soul. That's why nobody will listen to anybody older than they are. They need to learn. They won't respect anybody in authority. And I'm not talking about just being a brainwashed, just following everything that someone who acts like a sheepdog just bow down and do. But be able to listen to someone. To be able to learn. I've spent a lot of time going door to door and talking to people on the streets. And you know, when I believe something, I believe it, and I stand for it. But I can't tell you how many times that I've went home after I talked to that person, and that person might have not even thought a thing. But I heard what he said. And I went on, and I learned from it. And that person went away thinking he won't listen to anybody. His mind's made up. But I listened to him, and I heard him. God's given you souls. God's given you souls that are the most precious thing in this world. Souls that Jesus had to die for. That's your responsibility. What shall it profit a man if he gain the whole world? I don't know how all the answers. You don't have to. You don't have to have all the answers. All I want you to do is start paying attention. All I want you to do is to take what's right in front of you and start seeing what's going on. Start seeing you're being manipulated. I'm the parent here. Start seeing my children being disrespectful. Start seeing that my children, my little 3-year-old, can just walk up to any adult and act like we're the same. They're not. What I want you to do is start paying attention. God has given you a soul. And it's so easy for the cares of this life just to drown out that soul. There's all kinds of things. Go into all kinds of details. You just start paying attention. You just work on a few of these things that we've talked about. Jesus said if you walk, as we walk in the light, that's a step at a time. Maybe it looks out of control right now. Just take the next step. It's all you're required to do. Learn one thing and start doing it. But learn it. Lord, that is blessed. Still the Lord in prayer. Father, we thank you for your goodness and for your mercy. Help us, Lord, to do your will. Help us to bring glory and honor to you, Father. Help us, Lord, as we train these souls, Lord, that you've given. Lord, to be true lights for you. Lord, again, we just thank you for all that you do. Help us be faithful to you. Anyone have any comments, anything you would share? Question?
Thanks for the message.
Well, God bless you.